All right, let's get right into it. There's a massive story blowing up that involves a very controversial political figure, a medicine pretty much everyone has used, and a huge debate about our health. We're going to break down how Tylenol, of all things, ended up on trial.
And hey, real quick, do me a favor and smash that subscribe button, because you are not going to want to miss how this whole thing plays out.
I want you to just imagine for a second, what if the answer to one of the biggest medical mysteries of our time was literally hiding in plain sight, right there in your own medicine cabinet? Yeah, that is the absolutely explosive claim we are digging into today.
The man right in the middle of this whole firestorm is Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Now, he's been very open about his skepticism of public health agencies, and he's made a bold promise that he could pinpoint the cause of the autism epidemic, and fast. And a huge part of his focus is on, you guessed it, Tylenol.
And this isn't just talk. His team is pushing for an official government report on this exact topic. And get this, it's supposed to be released this month. The entire health world is watching this one very, very closely.
So what's the report's main target? A single ingredient, acetaminophen. You probably know it by its most famous brand name, Tylenol. It's also the most common pain reliever that's taken during pregnancy.
So is there any actual evidence here? Let's take a look at the case for a connection between Tylenol and autism.
People who support this theory almost always point to one key piece of evidence, a review published in the journal Environmental Health. It dug into 6 different studies and came to a pretty startling conclusion. It found strong evidence of a relationship between a mother using acetaminophen while pregnant and a higher risk of autism in her child.
But hold on. Just when you think it might be case closed, the story takes a pretty sharp turn.
Because on the flip side of this argument, there is an equally powerful case against any kind of link.
And this, right here, is the heart of the whole scientific debate. On one side, you have that 6-study review saying there's a link. But on the other, you have a massive 2024 study in JAMA that looked at 2.4 million kids, and it found absolutely no association. So how can both of these things be true?
Well, the answer might come down to this tricky little concept called confounding variables. It's just a fancy term for hidden factors that can make it look like two things are connected when in reality, they're not.
Think about it like this. Back in the 80s, some studies suggested coffee caused cancer. They saw a strong connection, but the problem wasn't the coffee. It turned out that a lot of heavy coffee drinkers also smoked cigarettes. The cigarettes were the real culprit, the confounding variable. So the big question scientists are asking now is, what's the cigarette in this Tylenol debate?
Now, to really understand what's going on, we have to zoom out a bit. This isn't just about Tylenol. This fits into a much larger pattern for Secretary Kennedy. His whole philosophy was basically summed up in one interview where he said, "We need to stop trusting the experts." He believes that this skepticism is a feature of a democracy, and that worldview really shapes everything his department does.
And I mean, his actions really paint a picture. Before he was a cabinet secretary, he led the Children's Health Defense, an anti-vaccine organization. Since he's been in office, he's promised to find the cause of autism and recently fired the director of the CDC, supposedly over disagreements on vaccine policy.
So the key thing to get here is that this focus on Tylenol didn't just pop up out of nowhere. It's deeply connected to his long-held claims that vaccines cause autism, and those are claims that run completely opposite to what major global health organizations have found in tons of huge studies.
And on that subject, the scientific consensus is incredibly clear. Just one of many huge studies, this one in Denmark, looked at 1.2 million kids and found no link whatsoever between childhood vaccines and autism.
And yet, here's the kicker. Even as his department is zeroing in on Tylenol and vaccines, they've actually defunded over 50 other studies related to autism, many of which were looking at totally different things like environmental factors from workplace chemicals.
So, with all of this back and forth and all this conflicting data, what in the world happens now? Well, keep your eyes on 2 key dates this month. On September 18th, a completely overhauled CDC panel, that's the one that sets all the vaccine guidelines, is scheduled to meet. And then the big one. By the end of the month, that official HHS report on Tylenol and autism is due.
For its part, HHS is being super tight-lipped. A spokesperson basically just said that they are using gold standard science, and that until the report is actually released, any claims about what's in it are nothing more than speculation.
And that leaves us with the ultimate question, doesn't it? When this final report comes out, will it be guided by science or by politics?
It really is the central conflict of this entire debate. So what do you think? How is this all going to shake out? I want to know what you think is going on here, so let us know down in the comments. And please don't forget to subscribe for more explainers that cut right through the noise. We'll see you next time.